Coming up on Empower with Tristan Canfor-Dumas.
I was like, bruh, this thing, I'm tired. Then in my head, the word just kept coming back, execute. I'm like, nah, I can push more. I can do more. I can push more. I can do more. And in every single thing that I did, I was so sure and so focused out in some way or somehow I would be able to gain something from it. There has to be somewhere that I would gain. But the pain of losing it's not easy. And my stuff is a small skill. It's not anything else. It's just losing a competition. But that pain wasn't easy. But then that also pushed me to want more, to get more, to win more. And that's what I want you to know. Hello. Welcome back. My name is Tristan Canfor-Dumas. I am the host of Empower. And today, we ain't got no special guest. We just got your boy here. We're going to say a little story. This thing has been with me for years. And this year, it has finally come full circle. And I am so excited to share this story with you. So please, sit back, relax, enjoy, and most importantly, take notes. All right, so for the sake of the story, I'm going to use the grade system, but in my school, we do the IB. And so, yeah, so on and so forth. The grade system, I'm using regular 12, 11, 10, 9 high school years. And so this story starts off in the 10th grade, right? Actually, started off in the 9th grade, realistically, because that's when I wrote out my goals that I wanted to accomplish in the school. And so I put those goals out and I wrote them down that one of the many goals that I had was to get a gold medal of swimming during the swimming competition. In my school, we have an annual swimming competition that goes on, and it's very, very competitive. And I like sports and I love the competition. So I looked at that competition. I was like, let me do something with this. Let me get a gold medal with this. And I remember after I swam, I was like, nah, I need to get a gold medal. I need to get a gold medal. So I put the goal down to get a gold medal in the swimming competition. I'm sure on probably the first video that I put out, it was there, the gold medal, part one of the goals that were there. And so I put the goal down. And then I moved forward. I'm like, okay, you know what? This was after the first swimming competition, which happened in 10th grade. It happened after the 10th grade. Then I wrote the goal down that the next competition, because that competition I got a silver medal in breaststroke, 25 meters. Just keep that in mind because breaststroke 25 meters. Breaststroke is my stroke, so just keep that in mind. All right. So breaststroke 25, I got a silver medal in 10th grade, and I was like, okay, going into the 11th grade, this is my time. I'm going to train. I'm going to do everything within my power to make sure that when I go to that swimming competition, I'm able to get a gold. So I was like, okay, cool. The training starts, and me personally, I like watching those boxing movies. So when I saw. I was watching the movies at this. I was like, oh, this is the Rocky moment. This is how you see it, including that during the cutscenes and everybody's training and working. That's how it was. I was really putting in that effort, like training full through and through. When we reach school, when we go to school, the same thing. And like, I used that same energy because I wanted to win so bad. So that kind of affected the people around me and also pushed them too. So I was looking at everything possible. I did extra exercises. I did extra drills. I woke up at 4:30 consistently to go and do drills that are not necessarily linked to swimming, but just to improve my stamina. So when I go into the water, I'm able to do the best I can. I was doing everything possible. And this was about a month leading up to the competition. I was just going crazy. Like, this is probably some of the hardest moments because I worked so hard for that. And funny thing happened. About 2 weeks of the competition, I realized something was happening when I entered the water. Every single time I dived into the water and started swimming, I kept getting these headaches. And then after the headaches, I started getting nosebleeds. And me, my whole life, nosebleeds have been kind of more or less normal. Like, I get them here and then. So I didn't really think much of it. But it kept coming every single time I dived into the water. And I was like, I was low-key scared to go and get it checked out because then if they say that I can't swim, then my stuff is gone. I can't really do anything about it. But I was like, okay, you know what? Let me continue training and just see maybe if it gets better. Let me take a few rest days and see. This is like 2 weeks to the competition. But it's not getting better. And every single time I swim, I just get headache. Like, I remember like swimming. Like, I used to swim with swim caps. I take the swim cap off, take my goggles. I couldn't have that pressure on my head because every single time it came, like, it felt like it was such a serious headache, and it was so concentrated. It was like at this specific area, I kept getting that headache, and then my nose started bleeding. Like immediately after I got out, nose started bleeding. It was very concerning. I'll not lie to you. Everybody was concerned. My mother, my friends, my father, everybody was concerned. So I was like, okay, finally, let me go and check and see with the doctor. I walk into the infirmary. I remember the day so well. I think it was a Monday. I walked into there on Monday morning. The competition is next week, Friday, by the way. So I walk into there Monday morning, and I tell her what I have. She looks at me, one shot. She looks at me dead in the eye. She tells me, "You have frontal sinusitis." Me, I'm like, what she say? What's that? Frontal what? Said frontal sinusitis. Then she started asking me, when you dive in, do you have this pain around here? I was like, yeah, I do. She's like, okay, then, that's about nosebleed. How long? Where's the nosebleed? Oh, it normally happens after I swim. And I was like, and then she was like, yeah, frontal sinusitis. And I asked her, what's frontal sinusitis? Like me, I was getting a little bit scared that she was saying I have some different disease or something. I was getting a little bit scared, and she was like, no, it just means that your sinuses are inflamed, and the chlorine is basically reacting with that, and that's what's causing the nosebleeds and the headaches and those. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. But then I was like, okay, so the competition, like, what's happening? Yeah, I can still swim, right? And she looked at me. She's like, no, you can't swim. You have to be out. You can't enter the water for 2 weeks. This was my reaction. Like, I didn't have any words. I was just looking at her. I was like, when you work for something so much and you're so close to that point, and somebody comes to tell you that you can't do it. Like, if you've ever gotten to that point where you work tirelessly for something, especially something that you feel like you have a certain degree of control over, and something happens that's completely out of your control, you are just looking at it and you're just like, wow. So what do I do? Keep in mind that this time I was training and people could see that I was training. So those people were like, oh, this guy is going to win. He's going to win. So when word got around that I may not be swimming, I will not lie to you, that whole week, like, every single time I meet somebody, are you swimming? Are you swimming? Are you swimming? Are you swimming? And I was just like, yo, come on, guys, like, chill. Like, let me at least breathe a little bit. Like, what's going on? And I at some point, I was just like, forget about it. I'm not going to swim. Forget about it. And I was like, okay, you know what? Leave that alone. It's finished. Go on throughout the week. Nothing happens. I'm resting. And as I'm resting, I still want to go for training because I was still the swim head at the time for my hostel. And so I was like, trying my hardest to still be there for them, even though I could not swim. Like, it was so painful. Being on the sidelines whilst you're watching your teammates swim and knowing that you could be there and doing what they are doing and knowing that you could have also done it well, it's a painful feeling. And I had to be there for them. And so I was there, sitting down, watching them swim. And I could just feel myself just falling behind. I could feel everything just getting lost. And I was like, this can't be the story. This cannot be the story. Like, I was thinking to myself, God, I wrote this stuff down. Like, I was literally asking God, like, this is something that you've seen that I've worked for. You've seen that I've put it down. What's going on? What's up? And I was so confused. I was so lost. I did not even know what it was. What was wrong? Fast forward, let's say that the week ended. And we are going into next week. This is the competition week. Competition is on Friday. Everybody's getting excited. Everybody's getting ready. Everybody's like, why are you swimming? Are you swimming? Me too, I'm looking at myself. I'm like, am I really going to swim? Do I want to risk it? Because this was the risk. I've rested for a while. So, I mean, maybe it healed. Maybe it didn't heal. I don't know. She gave me nose drops. I think those helped. I wasn't too sure. I wasn't really focused on whether it was helping me or not. And so I was like, I have two decisions to make. Either I risk my health, to swim and try and get something for my hostel, or I don't swim and I do the safe thing, which is to wait for myself to be fully cleared by the doctor and to go ahead and then go and swim after. But then I would miss the competition and I would miss my chance to win. And I was really thinking to myself, how bad do you want this? How bad do you want to win? And that question kept ringing in my head. How bad do you want this? How bad do you want this? And what made it even worse was that I was looking around. I'm not lying to you, man. My hostel at the time, we did not have the best swimmers. We was, you see, there are 4 groups in my school. And in terms of swimming, we were like fighting for third. We were floating around the third, fourth. And I was like, so if we are third, let's say with me there, and already like I'm a decent swimmer, so I help. And if I'm not there, that's a minus decent swimmer to already mediocre team as best. Please, if you're a Spartan, I love you. Don't worry, we are on top still. We're still doing our stuff. This was before, and so I was like, this is a decision to make. This is a very tough one. But I was like, okay, forget about it. We'll see. And I didn't tell anybody what my decision was in the beginning because I didn't want people to now start having to game plan and all those things. Like, I don't know why I low-key like people always asking questions like, what's this guy doing? It made me feel like I'm some like I'm some done. I was like, nah. These people are asking too many questions. Like I really wasn't anything special. And so it was like Wednesday or something, and then the competition is coming. And I remember very well that Wednesday evening, I made the decision. I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to swim. I made the decision to myself, and I didn't tell the whole world about it. I think I told 2 people that I'm going to swim, but I wanted to be under wraps. And so everybody was like, okay, cool, yeah, cool. So everybody thought I wasn't going to swim. And then Thursday, there's like this final training session before the competition. And then they just see me pull up for that training session. They're like, what's this guy on about? What's he? I thought you were not swimming. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm just going to go and feel the water just to see where my head is at. And then they were like, okay, sure, whatever. And I was like, okay, we'll see. So I swam. And as soon as I jumped to the water, I could feel something. And it wasn't good. As soon as I dived into the water, I could feel something wasn't perfect. Like, I dived. And you see, normally, at that time, I put 2 head caps on because I thought I did something with when you're in the water, you want to be like, as slick as possible and have plenty hair. So I was like, maybe if I wear 2, it could help. And so I wore 2 plus the goggles. I dived into the water. I removed 1. It was too tight. And I was like, okay, you know what? We'll try to see our best. When I got out of the water, I was thinking everything was cool. Everything is cool. I want to go and take a shower. Immediately, I entered and the water hit my face. My nose started bleeding. And I was like, oh no, it's not gone. And that thought of me not swimming, just the next day, I was like, this is a risk. This is a risk. But I was like, nah, you know what? I need to swim. I'm willing to risk it. I have to take that risk. You see, I don't know what's necessarily pushed me to go beyond that and to take that risk and to say that, irregardless of the health concern, which I did not necessarily advise. I don't advise you to go and flout doctors' orders. I was looking at it in terms of what's at stake. What am I risking versus what can I gain? Would I be able to live with myself knowing that I passed up this opportunity because of a headache and a nosebleed? Like, that's where my head was, and that's what I was thinking about. And I was like, can I die from this? That's the question that really happened. Like, can I die from this? I was more on the side that, God got me, and like, nothing bad can really, really happen. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let me take that risk, but also add some caution to it. You see, I was supposed to swim like maybe 5 or 6 races, and by that day I said, I'll only swim like 2, just to limit whatever happens and all of that. And so no one knows I'm swimming until the day I'm like, okay, guys, I'm actually going to swim. Everybody's happy, like, oh, cool. Competition day comes. Now, the competition day, it happens so quickly. I like, first of all, when I got there, we got there a little late, and they were already warming up during that time. And by the time we were ready to now enter the pool to warm up, they said we can't warm up again, that we have to immediately jump into the races. Now, if you watch swimming or if you swim, you know that, to get yourself warm and get yourself used to the water, it's very important to get your best time. And so just jumping in with no warm-ups and having the race be your warm-up is like, it's a little bit challenging, And so I was like, oh, no worry. It's just another hurdle to overcome. don't worry about it. We can do this. We can do this. We can do this. Then the race happens. You see, the last year I swam 25 breaststroke, 25-meter breaststroke, and I got silver. This year I swam 50. Not this year, like that year I swam 50-meter breaststroke. And as soon as I jumped into the water for the race, when I jumped into the water and I was going and I was going and I was going, I reached the end. And I turned around and I was coming and I was going with full as much speed, because you see our pool is a 25-meter pool, it's not a 50-meter pool, so we have to go touch the wall and then come back. And so as I touched the wall and I pushed off the wall and I was going, I could feel that 1.5 weeks that I got off. I could feel that like affecting my stamina. Like I could feel it, that I had not been training. And I was like, I pray that I don't get gassed out. Because I could feel myself slowing down. It's like you are treading the water, but you're not going anywhere. That's what I felt like. And I was like, bro, I don't know. I was swimming. I reached the end. I lifted my head. And you see, at first I thought I won, because as I lifted my head, the other guy who was by me, he hadn't lifted his head. So I thought that, I reached there first, and I lifted up my head. I asked around who won. And then they just pointed to the guy next to me, and I was like, that day, like, I was so annoyed. I was fuming, like, annoyed, because it was so close. Like, how many months I had been thinking about this moment, and it was like a split second. Like, I'm sure the video will come up at some points when I'm editing this stuff. I'm sure you see the video, but it was so close. Like, it was so close. And to have that be the difference between you and achieving your goal, you're so close yet you're so far, it's so painful. Yeah, the thought that came into my mind was, all right, I'll see you next year. Because you see, that's the thing about winning. I'm reading this book by Tim Grover. It's called Winning, funny enough. And winning doesn't have any friends. It doesn't have any allies. It doesn't have any enemies. It doesn't respect anybody. Winning does not respect anybody. So if you think you are entitled to win, you are wrong. You can train your hardest for it. And the thing that annoyed me the most was that I know maybe within my heart of hearts that I probably worked the hardest. Yet I was second. And somebody who I knew I was working harder than was first. That guy was good. That one, he was good. And I was just like, but I thought I worked harder. I thought I deserved it. But when he doesn't care whether you deserve it or not. And that's what happens. And yet, I still wanted more. Yet, I said, it's not over. And I was like, okay, next year. This story is not over, next year. So now we fast forward to this year. And this story now picks up during the summer, actually. So summertime comes and I'm now thinking strategically going into the year, because you see, in my school, we have different seasons for the different sports. At the beginning of the year is mainly swimming, volleyball, badminton, handball, those type of sports. And then later on in the year is basketball and whatnot. Football to the beginning of the year. My main sports in the school are swimming and basketball. And so I was thinking about it, okay, so how do I get my body ready for swimming and then change it for basketball? And so my plan was for the summer, prepare for swimming, and then later on prepare for basketball. And so I was like, okay, you know what? That's a good plan. That means this summer is purely focused on swimming and improving my swimming. So I was like, okay, you know what? Now it's time. It's time to really put this to the test. It's time to really try this. And you see, my brother too. Yeah, God bless him. He's a good swimmer. You know, he's quite all right. You know, that's also part of the reason why I actually wanted to even swim and to win. It was because I saw him win. This brother, that time that 2 years ago when I was getting silver, this guy walked away with 6 gold, and I was like, yo, that's gonna be me. At least maybe not to that degree, but that's gonna be me. You know, my main sport wasn't swimming, but I just wanted to also, you know, get something. So I was like, okay, I need his help. He knows what to do. He's a swimmer. He's cool. And I was just blessed. Like this is when this is what I'll get to in the end about God's timing, because he had graduated high school, so he was now going to uni, and he wasn't really doing much during the break. So he had the time to also be there and train me for the competition. And so I was like, I bet this is just perfect timing. And so I asked him, say, yo, can you train me? He said, all right, sure. No worries. I got you. Let's train. We started off training in our pool. And you see, what happened was we had a little bit of a misunderstanding with our father, you see, because the pool that we were swimming in is not necessarily a pool for, competition swimming. It's more of a leisure pool. And so it's not really, it wastes a lot of water when you're swimming and like you're splashing. And so my dad was kind of annoyed about that. He was like, yeah, man, I don't know if you can really be swimming like this because you're wasting a lot of water. And he was like, nah, you can't be swimming. And at that point, I was like, I promise you, I promise you, the thing that you want us to do, we are up in the morning at 6 during the summer training. We could be sleeping, but we are up and we are working out. After that, we are going to do something better. So it's not like we are sleeping, but we are working. And you are saying we can't do it. Like, that was my thinking. I was just like, oh, man, but like, what? Why? And I was like, okay, no, forget about it. Then my mother came with this beautiful idea. Like, when I tell you that this is like almost like a movie, like, she was like, oh, why don't you just go and swim at Bema camp? Why don't you just go and swim there and go and see what's up? I'm like, Bema camp. So like we go there in the morning. And it's like, yeah, you and your brother, you guys just go there, go and swim. I'm sure you can even get a coach and he can help you. And I'm like, low key, that sounds even better than being in the house, because in the house it was my brother that was training me, and sometimes he didn't really have my time, because I like asking lots of questions. I'm very, very persistent in that. So I was like, okay, mom, cool, let's try that and see. So we called around, and he was like, we couldn't really get a coach, but my mother was like, okay, you guys just go there and go and see what's up. So we went to the pool. When I saw the pool, I was like, yeah, this is a pool. So if I mentioned earlier that our school is a 25-meter pool, our Bema camp is a 50-meter pool. So it's long, which means that the training is going to be tough, which means that when I get to the competition, I'm going to be cool, because there's actually a quote from a Spartan warrior which says, those who sweat more in training bleed less in war. Basically, that says you kill yourself in training, game time comes, it's going to be easy. And so that's my mentality. I was like, okay, that's cool, and I can really do this. And we are able to get a trainer, lock him down, and that whole process, it was about a month and maybe a week or so. But the training was so intense. Like, my legs, Coach Kakra, if you're watching this, my legs, no mercy, my legs, my whole body, like, I was tired but I was happy. Like, I was happy because I knew that this type of training, what even gave me more motivation and more energy to go after this type of thing, waking up every morning like at 6 to go and torture myself before I go and sit inside class during the summer. I was like, I don't think anybody's doing this, at least not in my school. At least not for swimming. And I was like, this is giving me an advantage, this is giving me an extra edge. And I was like, you know what, I like that, let me continue on that path. And so went through the summer and we kept working at it. And bro, when I got to school, let me tell you something. The difference, I could feel the difference. Like, the 50-meter compared to 25, I could feel the difference. And I was like, yo, this is something. And it was like, yeah, the training at Bema camp really prepared me for school. Because as every story would have it, you always have your situations where things would just seem like they go completely off track. And basically what happened was, since I was now going into my final year, which I'm in right now, you have a lot of work to do. And unfortunately, I was not able to swim consistently for a period of time. I would say probably about a month or so, which was very long. And it's like you completely fall off in terms of stamina and fitness. And so what happened was I wasn't able to train for a while, and I could feel it. However, I also could remember the things that I was taught during the summer, because once you learn it, it kind of sticks with you. And so even though the stamina wasn't there, the technique was still there. It just had to be a little polished, because I wasn't swimming for a while. And so I was like, okay, you know what? It's okay, it's cool. The competition again was about 2 weeks away. But I was like in my mind, okay, now you probably have to ease yourself back in, because it gets around the time of the competition. Now, when I say the competition was 2 weeks ago, I didn't find out that the competition was not even 2 weeks ago, was a week later until the week before. So it was literally a Saturday evening when I found out that the competition was going to be on Friday, the following week Friday. And I had not entered the pool. I had not prepared. I hadn't been swimming like that. I was urging my other people in my hostel to go and swim and go and be pushing them, but I wasn't able to go to the pool that often. It was like once in a blue moon you see me there swimming. And I was just like, am I really going to go out like this? Like, I've put in all this work over how many years, and I'm getting to my last competition. I'm like, I haven't even trained for it. Does that mean that I'm not going to be able to get to that point? And to top it all off, I wasn't really able to manage my time the best. And so what happened was there was a possibility that I wasn't able to swim for academic reasons. And so that was also at stake. And a week to the competition, that the time that I found out. So I found out on Saturday that the competition was to be on Friday. And then on Monday, when I got to school, that's when they broke the news that, there's a possibility that you may not swim because you haven't done this and this and this. And in my mind, I was like, this cannot be the case. This cannot be the case. Like, this has been 3 years in the making. 3 years in the making. And you're telling me that it's because of another little thing that, this is the thing that even pained me the most. It was in my control. And I dropped the ball. Like, it was in my control. I could have done something, but I didn't. And it's because of that I may not swim. So the first few hours when they broke that news to me, I was kind of distraught. But I don't know, something happened. Something. This one, I really think it was God. I'm not even lying to you. It was God. Like, something told me, like, it's not over. Push, it's not over. It's not over. You try, it's not over. And so I was like, okay, you know what? Let me try. It's Monday. I think I probably have some time to clear my name. I should have some time to clear my name. Now, immediately, I started doing everything I could. I checked all the work that I haven't done, which was quite a lot. And I tried to finish them. I tried to put that. I was so like, I stayed back. I remember one day I stayed back in school till like 5:30 actually. Like, it was late, and I was just like just working, trying to finish work. And I was like, bro, I don't know if this is gonna. And I was like, I don't know. And I asked. This is when I was also able to ask for help, because this is one thing that I actually believe in very, very seriously, which is divine intervention. I asked for help from a teacher, and she was so kind. She helped me so much. Miss Beatrice, shout out to you. She helped me so much, because I actually think that if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have been able to swim, because she's the one who gave me the encouragement to say, don't worry, it's not over. You can still swim. You can still do it. So don't worry about it. Just work. Don't worry about it. And I was like, are you sure? And she's like, don't worry. You go swim. Just work. The rest will handle itself. Just work. And I was like, okay, don't worry. I'll try my best. And so on Thursday, I was checking. I kept going to ask her, can I swim? Am I cleared? Can I swim? Am I cleared? Can I swim? Am I cleared? And then at the end, like on Thursday, Friday morning, she looked at me and she was like, oh yeah, you're cleared. You can go and swim. When she told me that, I was like, yo, I can swim? Yo, that's crazy. And funny enough, exactly like last year, because of that academic stuff, it was in question whether I would swim or not, because people thought that, oh, you won't swim because his name is on the list, you won't swim. And so everybody was also asking me again this year the same thing. Are you going to swim? And I was like, yo, chill. We'll see, chill. And I was like, I don't know. We'll see. And so, all right, so competition day arrived, and by God's grace, I was able to be cleared to actually swim. But you see, as the day arrived, I was like, I have to start getting into the zone. Because at that time, I was reading the book by Tim Grover. It's called Relentless. And in that book, it was basically talking about the characteristics of winners at the top of their game. And I couldn't help but look at it, and I was like, this is me. He was talking about cleaners, and I was like, this is like, he understands what it is. And like that hunger and that passion for winning. And the smallest thing, like, I'm so competitive, the smallest thing can set me off. And so that day I was like locked into the zone. Like, I just wanted to make sure that I'm so focused, and I was looking for anything that could like get me focused and locked into that zone. And it just so happened that the day before, on Thursday, after school, we were just there after school, regular conversation with friends. And then first what happened was, we were talking with friends, and then one friend said, yo, so who do you think is going to win the swimming competition tomorrow? Then the other friend was like, I don't know. Then the first friend said, maybe the Spartans. The Spartans could win it. For context, I'm a Spartan. And it was like, maybe the Spartans can win it. Then the guy said, Spartans, oh please, let's be serious. I turned around and I looked at him. I was like, what you say? And the guy said, come on, let's be for real. Like, do you actually think you win? And I was like, I bet. All right, don't worry. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. As soon as he said that, from Thursday afternoon up until the competition, that was almost the only thing that was on my mind. Let's be serious, right? Oh, please, let's be serious, right? All right. And it was like, that one thing got me so locked in. Fast forward to Friday, the day of the competition. And I see, in the morning, my mood was jovial. I was happy. I was moving. I was excited for the day that, I'm cleared. I can swim. I'm ready. The competition was around 3:30. So as the hours started getting closer and closer to the competition, I started locking in more and more. And I was like, yo, it's game time. It's ready. And you see, one thing that was like different than other times, you see, before in the competitions, I would feel it in my chest. I could feel it in my stomach. Like, I would feel anxious. I would feel nervous. But you see, this time I was like, but I'm ready. Like, I'm ready for this. Like, this is like the first time in probably ever that I've been looking at it, and I was like, this doesn't faze me. Like, I'm prepared. I felt at peace. I felt ready. And it was that type of calmness. I was like, I even shocked myself. I was sitting in the bus. You see, after school, they bussed us back to the college to the hostels for the swimming competition, and they were bussing the swimmers. And so all the swimmers were sitting on the bus together. And I was looking around all of the swimmers, and I could see on some of their faces like they're really anxious leading up to it. And I don't know, but seeing people that were anxious made me more calm, because I was like, yeah, bro, they like, in my mind, I had to psych myself to the point where, like, you have done everything you can. There is nothing that you can do more at this point in time than just go out there and perform. You see, every competition, before every competition, I have one word that I continually repeat to myself. So along with the thoughts that I was thinking the last time about what the guy said about Spartans, let's be serious, along with that, I had the word execute. That was just ingrained in my mind. Execute. For the past 2-3 years, I struggled to execute. I put in the training, but on the final day, I couldn't pull through. And so in my mind, that was the word that kept repeating itself. Execute. And I was focusing on those two things, the thoughts and then execute. I was sitting on the bus, and I was sitting next to one of my friends, one of my teammates. And I told him, yo, are you this, like, do you also feel like very calm? And he was like, yeah, funny enough. Yeah, like, I'm actually calm. And I was like, yeah, bro, this is actually crazy. And so I was looking out the window, and I was like, nah, man, we better have some fun. this is going to be interesting. We better have some fun. And as the bus started getting closer and closer to the hostel, I remember myself getting more and more focused and locked in, and like at that point, I'm not your friend. Like, don't talk to me. Like, I don't want to come and be happy and be smiling. Like, it's not. I'm focused. Like, to the point where nothing phases me again. I'm just looking at it and I'm like, yeah, I just have to go and handle business. Like, I can't. There's nothing else I can do, bro. I'm just gonna go and handle business. And I remember getting off the bus and somebody came up to me and looked at me like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, I looked at them like some side eye. I was like, "I'm alright. Don't worry. I'm fine. Perfectly fine." And I just walked off and I continued with my day. And you see, getting to the competition, I learned from the past 2 years, I learned a lot, especially about what to do preparing for the competition. You see, the year before, we were not able to warm up, and that affected us severely. And that's the thing that I held within me, that like annoyed me even more, because I strongly believe that if I had warmed up, I probably would have been able to do better and maybe win. But either way, that's so I said this year I'm going to do everything within my power to make sure that not only me, but my team, we are there early and we are warming up before it's time. So that when it comes to competition time, we're already loose. So we can swim and we're used to the water and things like that. And so I went to my room, changed quickly. And I remember having, like, it was just like, it was like one cause. You see me, I don't like talking about these things. I don't like telling people these things, because then, like, they'll know whatever it is that goes on. They'll know everything that happens. And so I was telling myself this thing, and then, like, I'll never forget it. When I was looking at myself in the mirror, it was like, I didn't need to say anything. I was just looking at myself. And the one word I said before I left was the same thing that had been in my head: execute. Like, I was so logged in, like, I actually didn't hear anything, anybody. Like, I put in my AirPods and I was just like focused. Like, I put it in, and a type of thing where, like, no one should come and talk to me. I'm not your friend. Like, all smiles and all fun before, but getting to the competition, like, nah, I was not anybody's friend. And so as I reached the pool, like, it was on some don't chat to me, don't talk to me. If you're not my teammate, I don't know you type stuff. Like, I was not smiling. It was like nothing was funny again. I was I was so locked into the moment. I was just like, it's nothing else but winning. I walked over, like, I was so calm. Like, I didn't notice people even talking to me. Like, I don't like to, like, if I ignored you during that time, please, I'm sorry. I was, when somebody's focused on something, you can't come and expect them to also be having a conversation and things. And so basically what happened was the competition started, and in my mind the same things were going on: execute, and then what the guy said before, the day before. Those two things were just in my mind. And so I was like, okay, you know what? It's time to show them. It's time to show them. So the first race happened. We lost. The first race, we lost. That one day, we lost the first race. And the second race came about, and I was like, yo, okay, you know what? After the first race, people were a little, they were really feeling some type of way about it. So it was like, they lost all sorts of confidence. And I was like, nah, chill. It's not over yet, chill. And the second race happened. See, if you recall in the beginning of this story, I swam 25 meters the last year. I swam 25 meters. And then the year, that was in 10th grade, I swam 25 meters. And in 11th grade, I swam 50 meters breaststroke. So I swam 25 and I swam 50. And in both of them, I got silver. And so this year, I was like, by God's grace, I didn't have any physical injuries, anything of that nature. I was fine. But then I was like, this year I have to do something. And so this year I signed myself up for both of those races, 25 and 50. And I was like, now it's time I can actually swim and do all those races. And so the races happened. And I remember this so well, because this is when I realized that I can actually do this. So we started swimming. And you see, before you start swimming, you sit in these chairs before. I'm sure like a video will come up of like the thing before. But you would see the chairs. So you sit, and I was swimming since I was swimming the second race. There were already swimmers before me. But I was swimming in the first heat of my race. So there's first heat and the second heat. There are 2 heats. So every hostel presents 2 swimmers. As I said before, there are 4 hostels. And so I was swimming in the first heat and I was sitting down. And I remember I didn't look at anybody else. Like, I was so focused on the wall in front of me. I don't remember anybody else. Like, I honestly, like, I don't really remember the moment. So, like, I'm even starting to recall exactly what happened. I just remember the feeling. I don't really remember how all of that went because it was like, I just don't remember. And so, basically, we ended up going. And I would remember myself being so locked in that the one word just kept going in my mind. Now, I was no longer about what the other guy was talking about a day ago when he was talking about the Spartans. It was the word execute that just kept repeating in my mind. Execute, execute, execute. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to execute. We'll see what's up. I'm going to execute. The race happened, 25 meters. And I remember swimming. Got out. I was like, did I win? Did I win? He was like, yeah, you won. I was like, I won. And one thing I can tell you is that it was nothing like I imagined. I imagined it being so much more than what it actually was. Like, I'm grateful for the win because I know that it's not only through me that I was able to win. It's because this is all God's planning and God's work. But it didn't feel as big as I thought it would be. It wasn't as grand as I thought. I the day before, I pictured myself doing celebrations and like on some. I really planned it. Really planned how I would celebrate when I was going to win. But when I won, I was like, I don't feel like doing that because I don't know. It just didn't feel as fulfilling as I thought it would feel. And I was like, I want more. I put myself there. Like, I put the goal there that I was like, the goal of mine is to get a gold medal. That's been a goal of mine. And I've achieved it. But now that I achieved it, I realize I want more. And this is a lesson that we can learn. And it's just a lesson about life in general, about winning. When you reach the top, now you can see further. And you realize you can go further. And you realize you can do more. Reaching the end, the only end in life that you get is death. That's the only time that everything truly ends. Apart from that, it's just a new beginning, a new chapter. And so once I was able to close the chapter of getting the first gold, I was like, now it's time to open another chapter of getting the second, and the third, and the fourth, etc. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, now I want more. Now I really want more. Let's go after this. My second race was the 50-meter breaststroke. That race had the last year. It literally took everything I had to do that race because I was so out of shape. And that was only after not swimming for a week and a half. So imagine if this year where I didn't swim for about a month. You can imagine how and where my stamina would be. But I was like, you know what? I won last race. Let's swim this race. We'll see what's up. We'll see who's really the dawn here. I entered the pool. The first 25. I gassed myself out. I swam with everything the first 25. When I turned around, I was like, bruh, this thing, I'm tired. Then in my head, the word just kept coming back, execute. I'm like, nah, I can push more. I can do more. I can push more. I can do more. I reached. I touched the finish line. Touched the wall. I got out. I looked around. And I thought that I didn't win for a second. I looked around. I thought I didn't win. And because they were celebrating the other guy. And so I got out of the pool. I was like, I was mid. And you see, they were celebrating him, but no one was on my side. Like, no one was making plenty noise. So I thought that, the guy won and I lost. So I got out of the pool and I was walking around. And I asked the guy that was sitting there, I'm like, who won the race? And he was like, you won. And I looked at him. I'm like, are you serious? And he was like, yeah. Oh, yeah, you won the race. I was like, you're lying. He said, you touched the thing first. It was close, but you touched it first. And I was like, so I have to. I looked around, I was like, so I have to. I've gotten 2 gold medals. Cool. Now you see, this is when this, like, everything just comes together so nicely. Because 2 years ago, I was second in 25-meter breaststroke. A year ago, I was second in 50-meter breaststroke. This year, by God's grace, I was able to get first in 25 and first in 50. It felt like God had just like been waiting, holding it up, and then he released it. It's not like he released one, but he released two. And funny enough, that's not where the story ends. Not at all. Because just like 2 races later, we also went to go and swim another relay. And we were also able to win that one. So not only did I have one gold medal, not only did I have two, but I had three. And to top it all up, later on during the race, I swam like 6-7 races that day. And by God's grace, I was able to get some more medals. I think I also got a silver and a bronze. I'm happy about those ones, but the story is focusing mainly about the 2 first gold, which was the 25 and then the 50. And then I felt like the reward for winning that was to also get another one in the relay. And I was like, after the swimming competition was over, I remember everybody had gone. They hadn't announced the results yet, but everybody kind of knew who were the ones who had done something, who were the ones that were winning and things like that. And so I was sitting down, and everybody had gone for dinner at that time. It was like 6 p.m. and the pool was like shutting down, and they were preparing for something else. But I remember just sitting there in the pool for like a good 20 minutes, I think, 20-30 minutes. I just sitting there. At first, I was sitting there with a few of my teammates talking about the thing, and then they said that they wanted to go for dinner, and I was like, yeah, cool, okay, go, I'll see you. And so they all left, and I was just sitting at the pool, and I was just thinking, like, and then I remember people kept asking me, are you okay? Are you cool? And I was like, I'm cool, bro. I'm chill. Like, I'm trust me, I'm fine. I'm more than okay. I'm reflecting. I was just sitting in the pool and I was thinking to myself, I was like, you did it. But are you satisfied? Like, you accomplished what you set out to do. And it's so funny how that moment lasted so short. Like, I put in all of this work, years of work, for a moment that lasted no more than 5 seconds. And after that moment was over, I was like, now what? Because that was it. I was done. And so I was just like, now what do I do? So I was just like, what's next? I kept thinking to myself when I was sitting in the pool. I was like, what's next? And I just kept thinking, I need to win more. I need to do more. And you see, now this is when the lessons came, because I was really thinking about like the whole process and what can be gained from this. And this is so important that you listen to this, because the lessons that I learned from this story, if you look at the story alone, you wouldn't get much from it. Maybe you can motivate you a little bit to go and work hard. I don't know what they can do. But if you don't listen and try and extract the lessons that can be learned from this, I don't know if you gain much from this story. The lesson that I learned from this is, number 1, trust God's timing. His ways are not our ways. The Bible says in, I think it's Proverbs 3:5, trust in the Lord with all your hearts and lean not on your understanding. Then in all your ways acknowledge him. And so on and so forth. But trust in the Lord with all your hearts and lean not on your own understanding. That was something that is easy to say, but it's harder to practice. Trusting in the Lord with all your heart, even when things did not seem to go according to plan. First, it went with me training as much as I train, then me getting that frontal sinusitis thing out of nowhere and saying that I can't train, and being so close to winning that I could literally feel it, but I couldn't get it. It was so painful, but I felt like it was necessary, because this is when the timing comes. Because I was really thinking about it, like, if I had won in 11th grade when I went to go and swim the second time, would I have put that much effort into the third time to win? And the honest answer, no. It was because I had lost that I was still hungry for more. And I feel like this is what God does to us sometimes. He needs that hunger to still be there, because what he's preparing you for, what he has in store for you, requires you to be hungry enough to go after it. And it's only until you have reached that level of hunger that you want it so bad that he's going to give it to you. And you see, in my situation, he didn't give it to me 1. He didn't give it to me 2. He gave me 3. I'm talking about the gold medals that were there. Because on the day when they're presenting the medals and I was wearing it and my neck was heavy and I was feeling the thing, I was like, yeah, this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted to feel. And I was like, it wouldn't have been possible without the losses. Because they're painful in the moment, but they're so rich when you look at it in hindsight. Because you learn so much. And if it wasn't for that time in 11th grade when I came late and we were not able to warm up, I wouldn't have warmed up in this time. I wouldn't have taken it too seriously. And so it was like, that's the first lesson. Now, the second lesson is kind of tied in. I think it's like the main lesson is to trust in the Lord and trust in His timing because He's going to guide you. And now the second lesson revolves around perseverance and thinking about what it is and how to be able to persevere. Because there were so many things in my way that could have stopped me. And I felt like that's what made the story sweeter. First, it was the not being able to swim. I wasn't fit. So that was like some way. But the main one was the academic thing. It really, this year was the academic one. Last year was the frontal sinusitis. This year, the thing that was in my path was I may not be able to swim because of something that I messed up on. And so I was really thinking, is this reversible? Can I reverse this situation? Once that answer came into my mind that it's possible to reverse it, I was like, I can't settle for less. There has to be another way. And I feel like it took that situation, it took that instance to kind of wake that thing up in me. And, because of that, I was able to get a lot of work done, which is like, that's a good thing, but it shouldn't happen, but it's a good thing. I got work done and all that stuff. But it was the story that I needed to push past a certain point in order to reach that. And now the third thing that I also learned from this about myself, I didn't know I could get to that point, that I could get into the zone and like be so locked in on something. I didn't know. But it's like, because of that moment now, I'm able to build on that for future competitions because as I said before, I'm a competitor. I love the competition. I love sports because of the competition. And so when I saw that, this stuff is helping me to get into my zone, I was like, yeah, that's right. And funny enough, when I was looking back at some of the footage from the swimming competition, I'm sure you would have seen some of them. If you would notice and look at some of the other swimmers, they were looking around. And that's one thing that I did the year before that slowed me down so much. Because I remember when I was swimming the 50-meter breaststroke last year in 11th grade, when I lifted my head, I was looking at the next person to see where they were. And I didn't, it actually slows you down. It really does slow you down. And so this year, the thing that went to my mind was swim your race. It's so important just focusing on you. And if that's a lesson that you can take, focus on yourself. Because when you look at other people building, you stop building. Or whatever you go and build, it's not anything. Because your attention is shifted elsewhere. Shift your attention to what you are doing. Build what you have to build. Trust in God. Once you can tailor that focus to what it is you're working on. And you see, that's the beauty about God's plan. Because this is just something that I just kept thinking about, wow, He really timed this and planned this out so that I would win in my last year. Because He knew that if I was to win in the first year, let's say, the second and third year, I want to be motivated to go and swim. I want to have that fire or that passion to go and swim because I've already done it. I won. There's no need to do anything again. I've already conquered that field. But it was like, nah, you are needed in that point. You're going to lose that. You're going to lose it again. Because I know that the third time you come with some different type of energy and be so focused and ready on it. That's like, it's game time and this is it. And so I was like, okay, that's necessary. And I just kept thinking about God's plan that, wow, he really does work wonders and His timing. You will never understand it when you are experiencing it. That's one thing about God's timing. You will never understand God's timing when you are experiencing it. You are like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But when you look back and you are thinking about how everything has played together and fits inside so nicely, and the timing of meeting certain people and learning certain things, you sit back and you think and you're like, wow, ain't no way. God really, really, really positions us as human beings to succeed. And he uses their failures to teach us. Because through those losses, I learned so much. So much. So if you have to take anything from this video, please, the first thing that you should take above all else is trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your understanding. That's the lesson that I learned from all of this. Aside all the little things, is trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. And in every single thing that I did, I was so sure and so focused out in some way or somehow I would be able to gain something from it. There has to be somewhere that I would gain. Maybe not the result, but also as a person. What have I taken from this? I've become more disciplined. Because of my hunger, I was able to wake up consistently early to be going to work and work out. The double sessions, training when I'm sore, all these type of things, respecting my diet. Like, it wasn't, I didn't have those things if not for this hunger to win. But because of that hunger to win, I know now about myself that I'm able to be disciplined. Like, it's all part of the plan. He knows what's and what. So I would encourage you to just open your eyes and just try and look around you and see the certain things that God can potentially do for you, or what God is doing right now. I encourage you to really think and reflect on it. And feel free to share them in the comments or come and talk to me about it. You can DM me. You can tell me, like, talk to me about it. Let me know. Or maybe what you think. You see, oh, something bad is happening right now. Let me tell you something for free. That pain that is going on right now, trust me, it's not useless. I believe this so vividly and so strongly that there is no pain on this earth that is useless. It's not possible. There is no pain that you feel on this earth that you go through that is useless. God has a reason for the pain. The reason will not be understood now, but there is a reason. And trust me, when you understand that reason, you'll be like, oh, I get it. That pain is what caused me and what helped me to reach this level. But the pain of losing it's not easy. And my stuff is a small skill. It's not anything else. It's just losing a competition. But that pain wasn't easy. But then that also pushed me to want more, to get more, to win more. And that's what I want you to know. Just look at it, the pain that you have. Think about it. What is God using this pain for? What is God preparing me for? It's preparation. So that's the story. I know it's a little bit of a long story, you know what I'm saying? But hopefully you took something from this. Hopefully I was able to touch your heart in any way, shape, or form. If you have felt anything from this, if you've enjoyed the story, let me know, man. Let me know that this stuff is working, and I share more stories like this. Story time is nice. I really, really, really enjoy sharing these stories. So if you are looking to